And we are back at it again with another live one. You know, we are the most unprofessional professional group on this YouTube channel. But welcome to another exciting episode of, well, I guess we're changing it now because I'm trying to find something spicy. So this is two and a half men, the Dynamite review with your normal co-host,
You're not half a man. You're not half a man, Mikey.
No, you're not.
We're like 3 men and a baby. We just got to bring the baby.
We're blowing up. We're expanding like dynamite. Boom goes our group. It's like it's great.
Yeah.
See, this conversation's more interesting than Dynamite was. I'm just burying the lead with this one here. Like, before we jump into it, I'm joined by JVL and John.
Hi.
Who is known as the Professor. So, like,
ooh, internet problems already happening. I can hear it.
Damn it. We're going to keep this ship rolling.
We have a limited time today because the Mikey has some place to be and the JVL is a little under the weather. So we're trying to move through I don't know what proper verb to describe Dynamite.
We're going to attempt to review Dynamite, but not go on a tangent. But with this group, we never know. But
we're keeping it to a tight 35 today. Tight 35.
I swear this was like a fever dream because like I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at my notes and I was like, what exactly went down? I was like, what? Oh my goodness. This was
what's hard too is right at the top. We say this is the fight for the fallen. We're doing proceeds for the fire and Maui. If you want to send your donations, and then we have this 90-minute what is happening nights of AEW Dynamite to raise donations. The night starts out, we'll get moving. The night starts off with Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta. I did not know or remember that Wheeler Yuta's intro song is one of the greatest of all time. Did anyone else know this?
Custom music number 7 from No Mercy.
I like it. It was a boss battle for Mega Man, basically. I thought it was great.
Damn. I didn't realize that. No, I thought it was like custom wrestler music that was like
it probably was. It was probably some YouTube non-generic thing. But I remember I heard it and I was like, that's really good. I like it. What is that? But I wouldn't be surprised if it's something generic.
I don't know, but this started the night off with a bang for me. I really enjoyed. I knew we were going to enjoy this match because the two of them working together and the storyline built between them for years, where Yuta was a protege of Orange Cassidy. This was going to be both hard hitting and also fun, which was great. And as the Professor saw in my notes, I loved the move for move sequence where one would do one move and then the other one would do the other move. Hi, Minnie.
God damn it.
Minnie's here.
Yeah, no tangents. That's not happening tonight.
No tangents. He didn't know that I'm on a time crunch, but I will yell at his bitch ass later. Continue.
That was fantastic. I love the move from
extra Minnie tonight.
I think the announcers kind of called it like they're just trading moves. Yeah, but they were doing it in a way that it was still interesting. They weren't just copying each other. Go ahead.
Oh, they were pretty good about it. The one move that I didn't like that was copied from the other was Yuta sticking his own hands down his pants instead of pockets, so he looked like he was a teenager learning how to masturbate. So he just like couldn't, and he's wiggling and he's trying and he's kicking and just it wasn't doing it for me. And his face was weird while he's like hands in his pants, like
demonetized.
Yeah, demonetized. What was that strange almost submission thing that Wheeler did? He stuck his leg around Cassidy's leg.
Oh, the flying octopus.
Whatever that weird thing was like, what are you? And of course, we're in picture, so I only saw the tail end of it. But I was like, what?
I didn't. I was so happy.
Excalibur described it as the flying octopus Fujikatami armbar, which was also trying to bend the wrist back at the same time and break his wrist.
That sounds delicious. Can I order me one of those? Because
a couple of those rolls are pretty expensive. You have to have the right chef that knows how to do it right with the flying octopus. But
we highly recommend either Wheeler Yuta, or if you want to go talk to the master chef, you talk to Katsuyori Shibata.
Pretty much, yes. If we can recommend this, find a feed without picture-in-picture. The commentary over this part that wasn't picture-in-picture was astounding.
Man, I'm sold on that. I think I need to find that.
I laughed so hard.
But so this was back and forth, really good stuff there. It came out the way we thought it would, which with Orange actually winning, but with a reverse of the seatbelt pin into another pin. So not like having to use the big things on there, but You had the schmoz coming. You knew the BCC was out there.
At least it wasn't at
everything-
the end of the show where everybody comes in and fights.
But
This
then
literally. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, this happened again where it seemed like every match kind of ended with everybody in the ring. Which
This
has kind
match
of become a
specifically felt
Dynamite
like a
staple.
wet fast food bag that someone had like ripped the bottom out of, and all this meat just kind of ran out.
There you
And
go.
then they just shove it back in there because, like, oh yeah, we've been showing this too much. We got to get it all back in this bag that's falling apart. We don't know how to get it back to the next part. So,
I mean, that's kind of a metaphor for the last 10 years of my life. Is I got meat everywhere. I got to get it back in the bag. Somebody take this home.
been on
it's
that
getting-
day anyway.
Hi-oh.
So
Keep
everyone
one secret.
everyone fights. The Lucha Brothers come out, Best Friends come out, and then Murder Uncle himself.
Penta minus vest, man. Where was this for the
I was
last
like,
couple
yo,
of
all
years?
the tattoos, bro. I'm like,
Cool.
that's kind of more intimidating. And yes, a
Mhm.
lot hotter.
Penta-
Hey,
No vest Penta. Give me no vest Penta. Come on.
Is this a new mask for Penta or just one of a few different masks for Penta?
one of a few different ones, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if like next week he gets it ripped off too. Just saying.
More than likely, or Phoenix does, or one of the two. I'm trying to figure out, because they set it up on commentary, because the match is set for All In, which is these 6 people. Because Eddie Kingston comes back from the G1, which
Uh-huh.
by
He
the way,
had a great run, by the way.
great run, and his tag match in the final with Tanahashi and Ishii and all them was insanely good as well. I was so surprised.
If you also want to
But-
see people get hurt, you should watch his match against Kenta. That shit was fire.
Ooh, yikes! But
Woof.
he's back. He gives an unintelligible promo in the ring, which is normal for someone who just ran down and beat a bunch of people because he just wanted to punch Claudio in the dick. And yeah. And so he said, he announced what the match is going to be. And Professor, you were confused. Why were you confused?
Because all in a stampede match. And Tony Schiavone, which there's a lot of Tony Schiavone signs in the audience saying Tony Schiavone go home, Tony Schiavone shut the F up, which is hysterical. The fact that it's a stampede match and Excalibur jumps out and goes, a stampede match, one of the most spectacular, unpredictable matches. And
There's
Tony
only
Schiavone
been
jumps up
2
and
of
do it.
them.
What is it? Do you fight
Okay.
the stampede?
It's
Is
a
it,
stadium.
Okay, so let me just give you the Spark Notes version of it. So
is it a
stadiums.
bunch of hyenas and your uncle tries to throw you over the side?
So
Like,
think
is
of
that what
this
it
as
is?
kind of like a
Just a Florida
blend.
match.
It's a blend between like a pre-taped match but kind of live at the same time. The point is that Stadium Stampede is literally the whole entire stadium is the wrestling ring and anything goes. The first one was okay between, Hangman and all them, and that's when Sammy Guevara ate it on the golf cart, which was crazy spot.
Went through the windshield of a golf cart. And
And then the most recent one was when they were at Daly's place and they fought through the Jacksonville Jaguars like stadium, and literally the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars was in there. Like
But this was
It was
during COVID, so no one else was around. So they're saying that
MJF got
Wembley's in-
papers. Yeah, MJF got papers stapled to his face. That was crazy.
It was insane. And
The
there was
chairman
no,
like
in the end zone.
randomly making love to chairs was kind of weird.
So if that's what this is, it has to be very British. They got to do the Benny Hill music. There's got to
Yep.
be
There
lingerie.
have to be football players involved.
Yes.
There have to be actual like Premier League athletes, like somewhere around
yeah,
there.
Something's
Please.
gotta happen. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. Tony Khan's got the money. Just start making weird shit happen.
I'm interested to see who Team
Right now, we
Blackpool
only know
Combat-
exactly. There's only 9 people announced for a 12-person match. So
I mean, we have Murder Uncle Eddie Kingston's team already set, so now we got to figure out who's going to be on Blackpool Combat Clubs.
who
Which
haven't
was-
BCC pissed off? Like
That was
They have
just such a
made
strange-
everybody. Imagine it
Eddie
being
straight
someone
up-
lame like Butcher and the Blade.
Eddie Strange's up my
Actually, but if you want to get Kip Sabian, I'm down for Kip Sabian.
you were saying, Professor.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying that I feel like Eddie could have done this a little better service, like having an actual promo instead of just losing his breath. It goes, "Stampede match, we're ready. Go find some people." Like, and that was.
Well, I would love to see you do a little bit better after beating the dick nuts of your biggest rival all over the ramp, and then having to hobble your way into the ring, beat him some more, and then finally find a microphone to be able to get up on top of these things after having flown from Japan. Like, I give him credit for getting the
Yeah.
words out he got. Like, seriously.
Sure, that's fine. I don't want to go on a tangent. But if you're playing a
Yes,
game
you
of
do.
dick, if you're playing a game of dick nuts in front of 20,000 people and you're having an asthma attack, your cardio is what's wrong. It has nothing to do with, you know.
I mean, I was gonna say it, but yeah.
But yeah, so we set up the first new match at Wembley, which will be the Stadium Stampede match. It's going to be insane in the new Wembley, and people will be around. So that was the other thing commentary put over, was this is the first time with people in the building. So this will be different in a lot of ways. They kind of set up a lot of the camera tricks they were going to do in a later match tonight, which didn't work that well. So hopefully that was their dry run to figure this shit out.
Sure.
Probably was not a good dry run at all, but that's what it was. But we move on to...
Speaking of things that are dry, this Kenny Omega interview was awful, you guys.
It needed some JR hot sauce, just all over it that wasn't there.
The first half of it was, Kenny, I love you, but this was not it. I'm like,
So-
JR, this was also not it. And then Don Callis, this was not it. It's only when the Bullet Club Gold came in for the second half and beat the ever-living daylight out of Kenny where it got good. And then we'll talk about the beer can like shortly afterwards. Fucking Professor had me died.
That promo was the one that he got kicked out of Collision for to do. Like they wouldn't let him do a Collision. So that obviously that was filmed like that day somewhere else, but still.
So this Kenny Omega just brought up an interesting example of being memorized does not mean you're acting.
No.
It was completely memorized, had done the work on this, knew it word for word, obviously, and was
what
very
take
dedicated.
do you think this was?
This was like,
oh God.
I feel like this was towards the end where Kenny was over it. Kenny, I love you, but you were over it in here, and it made me over this too.
It's very possible that they had done a lot of takes of this. I don't think they're getting direction though.
No.
Jim Ross has always been a fantastic interviewer and announcer, so he's relaxed and breathing all the time and is genuinely sitting there. So when you put someone like Kenny Omega, who's basically a cardboard cutout of Kenny Omega, like basically doing the South Park Canadian thing, like his mouth is just moving and his eyes are dead and soulless. Yeah. What are you looking at?
Staring straight at Don Callis, waiting for him to run in there and mess this up.
And that was really bad. One of the tells, and you'll understand this as a theater thing. The way you memorize is how you look, right? So if you're memorizing something, reading down all the time, you're going to learn it. And when you go to remember, you're going to look down to remember it. So Kenny obviously was reading it up. So when he didn't know what to do, he would look up and he would re-stare at the visual spatial sketch pad for any human memory teachers out there. It was so rough, like just to watch that. And then you're right, catching eyes with Don Callis, like, when's he going to interrupt me? When's the cue for that thing?
But also, all of these people are behind the camera, and when they pull back, you see how open this place is. Where were they hiding?
How is that a surprise?
You couldn't see them coming a mile away down seriously.
Yeah. Why couldn't it would have been interesting to have them come from behind?
Yes,
come from behind that stadium,
one
make it
place we can't see
the thing, and nobody stops them. And the cameraman just lets them get their ass whipped? Do something like that.
JR is not going to do it. He's just going to stand there kind of half reacting to it and going, where am I standing? Where am I standing?
JR got hosting this. And like I told everyone before we started, like, I'm just glad JR's getting work. I'm glad JR's getting a check. I'm glad JR's got to be damn near 80 or more and just like fighting his way through. No, I think he's about 70. He's got to be 70, 71, 72, something like that, I think, math-wise. So the fact that JR is even alive is good, and the fact that JR is getting paid by Tony Khan is good. JR was stuck. He didn't even know what to do. I was more worried about JR than I was Kenny Omega.
Was cutting to the beatdown, and he's not even reacting to like the beatdown. He's like, "Yeah, this happens to Kenny all the time. It's fine."
I know. He had this face. He's like, "So this is happening. Can I go? I'm just going to go. I'm witnessing a murder. Can I go?
Jesus.
You have my number," and like just slowly walking away, Grandpa Simpson style.
Yeah, and then
also we have the Hangman promo.
God, that was horrible too.
Do you think he's actually portraying it farther or trying to be drunk in the promo, and that's why it was so bad, or that he's just forgotten how to do a promo?
Yeah,
he didn't come off as drunk to me. He came off as, "Hey, Kenny, go do this, Hangman."
Right.
Oh, okay. He's first thing he says is, "I'm out here in front of the hospital." You're obviously not in front of a hospital. It's like you're not even trying.
And Kenny's inside. We just saw Kenny get beat down.
We just saw Kenny. He's not in a hospital. So for those of you who zoomed in on it, this was in our group text, which is, bad podcasting. I zoomed in on a photo of the beer, which is just generic beer prop, which you can order online. Horrible. I mean, at least do the indie film thing and have a real beer, but like cover it with your hand. Like, don't just come on.
Honestly, all this served was to set up what we were getting because of Kenny getting beat down, jumping into like, oh, now we're at the hospital. I'm like, we'll talk. I'll save this discussion for another episode. But ultimately, this sets up for a new match at All In, a 6-man tag between Bullet Club Gold, which is Jay White and Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita taking on the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi and Hangman Page.
The Hung Lovers.
The Hung Lovers.
That's the name.
It's gonna be at some point.
We're making it a thing. So the team of Hangman, Kota, and Kenny is now known as the Hung Lovers.
Perfect. The best thing about this whole promo was seeing the old school shots of Kenny and Takeshita in Japan. Like those were gold.
DDT. Love it.
That was pretty sweet.
When Takeshita was still a track star at that point because he hadn't put on so much muscle.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
So Professor, did you enjoy your promos? You know, we got to them. You had those great promos, right? Get ready for more promos.
Especially with Don Callis, because we're not done with him yet, because we had this segment with Chris Jericho, and honestly,
we cut to commercial during Jericho's intro. That's how long this fucking took.
I did it.
This was a long time.
This was a long ass promo.
So Callis is in the ring. For those of you, we jump from all this weird madness to Don Callis is in the ring. He's waiting for Chris Jericho to come and give him the answer. Chris Jericho comes out. We cut to commercial because it takes that long. There's something under a sheet that looks like it's a frame. We're not sure what it is. And then Jericho gets in the ring and says, "You want to know my answer?" We go far back. "Yeah, I want to know your answer." There's this weird moment where you're not sure what's going to happen. It takes a little too long. Chris Jericho says, "Well, now that I'm abandoned, I don't do factions of this, but you're my friend with this." He joins the Don Callis family. Don Callis says, "Let's go celebrate." And Jericho says,
getting a little weird about it, he says, "Okay."
Very, very weird. Don Callis isn't sure how to take this. He tries to rush Jericho out of the ring. "Let's go celebrate. Let's get out of here." And Jericho says, "Hey, but what about that?" He says, "Oh, don't worry about that." Jericho eventually makes his way to the painting, pulls the fabric off the painting, and it's a very specific painting of Don Callis holding up the head of Chris Jericho.
A la Walking Dead.
Yeah. And they're trying to explain it away. Don Callis is obviously pretending to lie badly. Here's Jericho saying, "Just tell me the truth. I've known you too long. Tell me the truth. Tell me this. Blah, 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 blah. It's obviously a joke." "Well, no, it's obviously this, the painter." And there's a weird moment here where Don Callis goes full truth on Jericho.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the pop of the whole thing. You're self-centered. You think this way. You treat people this way. You egotistical. You do these things, like calls all the truths out. And for me personally, the best heel turn ever, not ever, of this moment would have been, "You know what? You're right. I like you anyway." And then boom. And then we go, "Oh, you're an evil son of a bitch."
Yeah.
And you stayed with them. But no.
Because who comes out?
We get the bait and switch, and along comes Takeshita.
You got japated.
Takeshita can't do it by himself. Along comes Will Ospreay out of nowhere. A wild Will Ospreay appears. They beat up Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
They give Jericho a full-on headshot with a chair, like unprotected for the most part. He got his hand up, but that was close. That was an attitude.
I was like, damn.
Oh yeah. I don't know when Jericho bladed himself, but he bladed himself kind of awkwardly, so there wasn't enough
we didn't
blood.
see it. The cameraman did good.
I know, right? Cameraman improved.
So Will Ospreay tries to get more blood out of Jericho's head by like giving him that little noogie thing. And if that's not enough, they hold up Jericho, and Don Callis comes crashing to hit him in the head with the painting, which makes a gross noise. It did not sound good.
It crunched.
Yeah, he got his hand up, and he got a little bit there, but he came down angrily. Bow. So that happens before he gets beaten up anymore. Along comes Sammy Guevara to the ring with a bat to save, "I guess I like you now, Chris Jericho."
Well, I mean, he did say, he's like, "I'm not officially abandoning you, but you need to work out some stuff, but I'll be here if you need it." And I'm like, well, here we go. Damn.
What's hard about a promo like this
Not
is
even
if
a
you really
week.
cared, you're obviously waiting for him to get hit. Like you could have came out 45 seconds ago
Twice.
if you really cared. You did. You're obvious. You got to do a little better with the surprise. I'm going to save you now thing. Like it was a little.
Maybe he couldn't take the bat out. It was stuck in Jericho's bag. It got stuck along the handle. Then you're trying to pull it out and it gets wrapped and you're just using all your strength. Then the bag falls open. You want to pull the stuff back in there. So you got to make sure you're doing that with the bats involved. The bat's a little big and now it's on the floor, but it rolled under the lockers. So now you can't get to that. So you got to get someone to move the lockers for it. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've been on that day too. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And it's you're just trying to get out there to save them, but you can't. I don't know.
I'm coming. I swear I'm coming.
I'm trying. I'm just trying to. What do you mean it's stuck? It's stuck. Move the zipper. I don't.
I was gonna
stuck in your handles. It's stuck in the handles.
While these two are reliving their middle school and high school days, what this sets up for later is that after this whole segment ends, because God, this is a long promo, we find out later tonight when Renee is interviewing Chris that we're getting Chris versus Will Ospreay at All In. Cool, because they were supposed to have this match pre the world shutting down. And, in the Tokyo Dome, but it didn't happen. So I'm like, cool, we're getting it in All In. And I know people are complaining. They want to see Will and Kenny 3. I'm like, no, wait for Wrestle Kingdom.
There was someone talking about it, though, that this is like Will and Kenny 3 is a guaranteed 5-star match. You're going to get everything you need out of it. It's going to be a booster for this. Putting him up against Jericho now, as opposed to 2019, you don't know if you're going to get a stinker or not, because Jericho, for all these he's not been showing. He's been doing well in the ring lately. And Ospreay, while amazing, is not as good as Kenny is at carrying somebody who's maybe not in their best setup to a really good match. Sure. He's spectacular and he can do amazing things, and he's gotten a lot better, but Ospreay is not at that level yet. So I'm worried this could be a really big misfire and really just kind of slow a bunch of momentum they've built up for a while.
It can be. I can also be pleasant surprised. I'm going to go into this match for All In open-minded because, I want to be positive, but I'm also like, okay, I see why we're doing this. I'm not a hater like a lot of the people are on the internet, but I'm cautiously optimistic is the best way to describe this.
I'm hoping it comes off well. I'm not as comfortable watching nearly 6-year-old Jericho bleed all over the place like Kenny and Ospreay did. The violence that'll be done will be very interesting, and I think if they lean too far into it, they could not give themselves enough credit. So I'm hoping it's good, but Mikey, I'm not as optimistic as you are, unfortunately.
Blood just looks awkward with Jericho. I don't think he handles it super well, and maybe that's just me.
It's the cholesterol.
It's he's not bleeding so much as he's just kind of sweating out the blood.
Yes.
Oh, that's a thing.
Oozing.
It's because even when he in that promo, like he licked his hand and did the mom 409 forehead clean, like trying to get blood on the thing. Like what? You're making it weird, man.
Yeah.
I agree. Jericho 4 or 5 years ago, totally different Jericho. I mean, life has kind of caught up to him quickly, like it happens to all wrestlers.
Jericho is getting older,
but Jericho is. I still have, respect for Jericho doing what he's doing. What's hard is comparing him to other wrestlers his age or older who are just moving a little better, like Billy Gunn or Jeff Jarrett. Like
that's the steroids.
I mean,
yeah, if you're still on them, then you're going to be great forever. But
yeah, Chris is getting
allegedly.
Up. Yeah, allegedly. Jericho's getting up in there in age, and he's not getting any younger. He's getting older, and I want this match to be great. But speaking of older wrestlers.
Well, and bloody stuff too.
I mean, next up we get the crash test dummies of Darby and Nick Wayne taking on the Gates of Agony. This match, it was fine. This match was fine.
My poor heart is this. I'm watching Nick Wayne do everything Darby's doing, and I'm like, dude, your body is going to hate you.
Sir, you just graduated high school.
Take care of yourself.
I know. Sir,
you're not even fully formed. You're not fully formed yet.
You're not quite ripe.
This match was fine.
Why was the camera cutting away like 2 seconds too early every time?
To get, I guess, AR
the first half of this, the camera was just cutting away randomly. I think they wanted to get AR Fox and Swerve on the ramp a few extra times. They wanted to get the build up to big moments a little too quickly. So it was a little distracting for me here and there. The match itself was fine. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't jumping up and down for anything. I agree with you. It does seem like, hey, Nick, take care of yourself, though. Like, you still have bone structure and things. Like,
what's that like?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if Darby Allin's own growth has been stunted because he does kind of look like a 12-year-old boy sometimes.
Ooh,
Oh,
shots fired.
oh,
Shots fired.
I mean,
I
They did make the Gates of Anakin look like monsters. I mean, they were
That's
bouncing all over
very
the floor.
true.
massive.
But then I was just like, okay. They did, and then they're like, LOL, we win. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I knew that was happening the minute that Nick Wayne kicked out of the double choke slam. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
you literally been
that's-
planted by two giant men, and you kicked out at two. You're not losing. You have plot armor of something right now.
You can make it more convincing. I suggest people go look at the Acclaim versus the Iron Savages from Collision, because that was more
My
believable.
God, that was amazing.
That match was,
That was amazing.
that was more believable than this was. But ultimately, Darby and Nick win, and ultimately this just serves to continue the feud of what we're getting in All In, because, ladies and gentlemen, returning to us from the bygone era that was TNA Sting, we get Joker Sting, which I don't care what nobody says, it is a national treasure, and I love it.
Well, and with Prince Nana, that was freaking amazing.
That was the best person to have. It's just like, oh, come here, bud.
What's great, I had only ever heard of Joker Sting. Never seen Joker Sting live. I'd only ever heard that it kind of existed and saw some of the promos from, oh God, that would have been what, 10, 11 years ago, maybe?
Yep. Like the 2010s of
Time
TNA.
is an illusion. Jeez. Because I remember loosely watching those early days of TNA just because I had only ever vaguely heard of this. It's awesome. This is my only first taste of Sting's amazing. Sting's been doing this forever. It was a fantastic promo. Prince was terrified or played it up really, really well. I love, hey, where are you going? Where are you going? Like going nuts. I'm excited to see it.
It's going to be so good. I'm still going to worry every time Sting moves more than 5 feet, but it's going to be a fun match. It's going to be interesting.
we were just talking about this.
Yeah,
we were just talking about old folks moving.
Exactly.
We'll see where it goes. And again, Sting, I'm glad you're making money. Finally, I'm glad you're getting paid.
He was getting paid pretty well in WCW for a while, but
yeah,
like a year.
Yeah. The coffin match should still be fun. And I did get my questions answered this previous week across other AEW shows, because I was like, do we forget that Darby has a championship match at all, out? But nope, I got all my question answers. Okay.
Yes.
I will be honest.
Oh, give me more of this all night. Give me more of this all night.
This was the best part, and it was a definite pick-me-up. And I will say, whereas the Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho promos that got thrown together in a sequence were just not great, this video vignette plus the in-ring promo was what exactly I needed.
Oh man.
So
incredible.
We start out at an Kangaroo kick at an Outback Steakhouse.
So this promo starts with them talking, and I'm drinking my water, and I'm like, that's a map of Australia behind his head. Where are they? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, going Outback Steakhouse. And the moment Adam Cole says, I love Outback Steakhouse, I spit my drink all over me. I was, what is happening?
I have come to learn to not drink or eat anything while they are on my screen.
I forgot.
Can I say also, I thought the promo was going somewhere. They got into the restaurant. They're sitting there together, going through those things, and they just cut right out of it. And they throws you the other way. We're not going to sit in here and watch them eat. Are you kidding? No, they learn nothing. It's a short little vignette. You didn't get that. We're moving on.
That was amazing. So okay, but this next part though, I was just I was shocked, because when I was watching and looking back at the text messages that JVL sent, I'm like, holy shit, what is about to go down? So now Adam Cole and MJF are trying to embody Australians. And so they tackled this Australian dude who was holding everything.
Local jobber number 7, who they got to do this for the day.
And they did it. And then in the background, without showing the face until later, we just hear Tony Khan screaming and yelling at MJF and Adam Cole for being stupid.
How is Tony Khan more expressive in VO than he is in person?
Seriously.
I think they were making that joke at the end. There was sort of I've never seen him like that before. Yeah, me neither.
And then he comes back out. He's like, hey guys, are you okay?
I was going to tell him off.
Their one-liners in this were great. When this promo starts and he goes, we're going to watch Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2. I have a better idea. Well, I did buy these for $5.99. Wait, what?
the best part too is then we get to the third and final scene before the in-ring promo where they're in the parking lot and MJF's just like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. And it's like, just finish this off without me. And Adam Cole deadpan looks at the camera. It's like, we'll find out what we have to say when we come back from commercial break, and then leaves.
Nails.
Breaking the fourth wall. So good.
First of all, I wrote that down. Whose car is that?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's MJF's or they rented it. But then
Tony Khan's car, like this $1 million whatever Ferrari.
I don't know. He learned his lesson when Stone Cold filled the Vince's car full of cement. So,
yes,
no one's that happening.
The only unfortunate downside to this was like, because I don't know if it happened when you guys were watching it, but as soon as Adam Cole left, generic white guy number 5 and the Kingdom come out, and we don't get anything.
His toe.
God damn it!
Hi, everything's here.
Will, nice to meet you, Will.
God damn it! I can't get mad. They didn't know. They didn't know.
On Discord knowing we're recording.
I thought it was stupid that Ricky comes out to kick the car, but like taps the wheel because a part of me was like, "Don't you dare kick that car! Don't kick that car!"
Well, he couldn't. He had to kick the tires, and
he had to kick the tire lightly and walk away.
So this is my other thing I'm thinking of, though. If they beat Aussie Open, that actually makes more sense because then they're fighting each other. The whole thing happens, and then they've got to face the Kingdom for the ROH titles down the road with Roddy Strong in their corner. So that could be where they're going with this.
That's interesting. Sure.
Kind of hoping.
So do we want to talk about the in-ring promo?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because we cut back from commercial.
Right.
And there were signs everywhere that were so good. MJF is my sunshine. Luigi take the L. All that good stuff. I loved watching the camera guy was on all the signs that time. It was so good. But then story time kicks in, which is awesome, and it was amazing. And they got Kangaroo Kick over.
I want that as a finisher now.
Over.
They better pull that on Aussie Open, I swear.
I wrote down kangaroo kick is a thing. I wrote that down like you better do a kangaroo kick.
This is the new Tekken move.
I love how candid Adam Cole got or has been getting the last few weeks. This one was lovely. MJF too, going all the way back to when he was talking about being bullied, and then Adam Cole talking about, his time in Ring of Honor and New Japan and whatnot. And then again, we're kind of we're really, really building up this march to the title, this emotional march to the title.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it's acting because it's too close to home. You're sort of acting, but there's this layer of it's still performance. I'm performing this thing that I'm doing.
Right.
MJF, not necessarily trying to one-up Adam Cole, but to say this means just as much as I do, talking about his time in the gym and people ragging on him forever, invoking the name of Cody Rhodes. Like there's a lot of history that they're playing, and frankly, they're the only ones doing it right in AEW. No one's playing up anything like they are, which is confusing to me. And I don't know if that's a creative decision or if that's just they're open and vulnerable enough to do it and make it look good or what. But they're smoking everyone.
They can do it. Like they probably have the leeway at this point to say talk which way you're going to talk, and they're actually making sense versus the rest of the folks that are still learning in certain ways how to promo on TV. So it's like
sure.
I don't know. It was crazy built up. They were going at each other. What I wrote down in my notes was when this finally dissolves, it's going to be a toxic shock of disappointment for everybody involved, all the fans involved.
I have two notes that I took that I wanted to bring up here for sure. One, is that Cody Rhodes MJF story true? Is that what happened? Does anyone know?
It's
if
close
MJF,
to it.
I would say it's close to it, yeah.
Because MJF would have been coming right out of NXT, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, he was coming out of Pro Wrestling PWG or
something like that.
MLW, one of the two. He was still in the Indies and was like, he hadn't won the title there yet, but he was like high up, but like friend of the Rhodes family knew them. So yeah, he was definitely handpicked to be on that show.
Wow.
And then being the curtain jerker was huge.
Yeah, that's massive. And I just wanted to do my diligence and be like, if that's a true story, that's freaking incredible. My other thought was here. I'm not calling it. Here's what I think something like this could happen for this title thing.
Sure.
We're building up this emotionally. We're building this up emotionally. We're building this up emotionally. I wonder if we have another similar to what we saw, what was that, 3 or 4 months ago when this really kicked off, that 30-minute match to a time disqualification. If it turns into MJF like giving the title or some sort of not kicking out or going, it means more to you than me right now, or there's some sort of honorable something before we get to that tag match. Because then in that tag match, you can have a betrayal. You can have some kind of turn there if you really wanted to. It would break my heart because this is so good and I don't want it to leave. It just makes me so warm and happy. But I wonder where we're going because now the belt means more emotionally than just a championship. They endowed it with that power. So now as playwright or narrative or whatever, I'm like, you can't just have a 1, 2, 3. Now there has to be some sort of heightened moment. Now we're talking classical theater stuff. You endowed this with power now. This is totally different than it was before.
Well, and the other part of it is they've endowed the ROH titles with that kind of power already.
Yeah.
So they've got on both ends of the night these giant totems, these pieces of themselves they've got to prove, and both of them want the first one more than the other, but on the second one, the other one wants this more than the other as well. So it's all about where the give and take is going to be. Is there going to be parity within the group? Is it going to be one person winning more than the other? And that's going to be built into the storyline of both ends. I'm intrigued for it, and I will watch the pre-show to see all this. Even with Aussie Open getting wasted, because then they come out to beat up MJF and all them beat them down, and which they needed to do.
Which
but at
MJF
the same time,
creating a move called the kangaroo kick on the spot is fucking fantastic.
So good.
I feel the writing's on the wall that Aussie Open are going to get squashed, which is a shame, but you know what's coming, and I think they're up for it. I mean, they're talented. I'm a fan. I like what they do. Oh man, it's so good. I don't want it to end, but I feel like
where can they go?
Where can they go? And I don't want them to overstay. I don't want to be talking 2 years from now, be like, well, this week on MJF and Adam Cole. But
the only thing I can think is because they got All Out right after All In. Cole wins the title, grants Max the rematch. Roddy costs Adam the title at All Out.
Sure. And then you get that tag angle that you were talking about as well. Could be in there too.
Exactly.
That can get some heat for that. I don't see the fans are still chanting "Hug it out."
Yeah,
like we don't want it to end. It's perfect, and you can end it. I haven't ordered my shirt yet, so don't end this, Tony Khan. Give me time to buy my shirt.
We all have too many shirts we got to buy from this t-shirt company that does wrestling. It's too crazy. This was the big peak of the night for the most part. All the way through, absolutely. This is where everything was great and there was no wrestling involved. This was a promo heavy show, setting up and reinventing a bunch of different matches for All Out, or All In, which needed to happen. When I get into the TK accountability corner, I'll have my own feeling on the women's match and stuff like that, which we'll get to, but this was where it was. Moments in this promo were amazing. Moments of the night here, all that was great. So welcome back, Mikey.
Mikey, I know we're up against it, and you just missed a huge emotional roller coaster. You can edit this part out. What do you want to do? We still have like 4 matches left.
I got 2 pages of notes. That's it.
2 pages of notes. All right, so you finished with the Better Than You promo. Aussie Open attacks. Yes. There's a super kick fake out. Cool. Okay. All right. So
I know you got to go soon. So what do you think we should do? Should we just keep recording an audio and make this an audio thing, or
no?
What makes you happy?
I will leave this up. I will just have somebody turn off OBS when they're done, unfortunately, because it's not fair to speed run the rest of this.
Are you do you trust the humans around you to do such a thing?
Probably not, but I'll learn to live with it.
Is there a way we can shut down OBS from our end, or like a way that when it turn off like Discord or something?
Unfortunately not.
So we're going to have to send a lightning bolt to your house. Got it. Okay.
It's fine.
And editing this is going to suck because you've had 2 guest appearances and you're leaving.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll figure something out.
Are you sure? Because if it's
look
okay
at his face, viewers, look at his face. The hangdog face of just like, I have taken on more than I ever could do. And these assholes are making my life a living hell. And now I'm going back to teaching and I shouldn't do it. And
That's teachers every day. Like, I don't want to go back. Because this one might just be better audio. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Are you sure?
I think we'll figure it out. We'll just keep going. So after this, we get the weirdest match.
Okay.
The Texas
We're
Chainsaw.
skipping this. What is this match?
Okay, that's fine. Jeff Jarrett wins this awful belt next.
The Texas Chainsaw match thing was crazy. I saw that belt looked cool from a distance. Up close, it was like, what the hell is this? This definitely seemed like we don't know what we're doing. Let's just stampede through the ring, I guess.
They were trying to have a final deletion match that was terrible. And a live final deletion match, which didn't work.
This was the one match.
Keep ending up in these weird gimmicky concessions match. And
Homeboy is just collecting a paycheck. Like, they ask him, "Do you want to do this?" And his answer is always yes. Yes.
Matt Hardy almost missed with the bucket of blood, which is a callback to the Kevin Nash missing with the bucket of blood at WCW days.
Karen Jarrett had to rub herself in it separately because she didn't get enough on herself while she was screaming.
The only thing that worked, and sadly there was no pop for this. The audio, it's almost like they had to do it artificially. Was Leatherface coming out?
That was awful. That was awful.
AEW's RoboCop moment.
It was awful. RoboCop. It was awful. It was the only thing that worked. It was the only thing that I was like, okay, that's if you're gonna go for it, go all the way. I guess. Crappy $5.99 mask.
While they were still getting up on the ramp to come out on stage to where the commentary was, you heard through the crowd with no reaction, someone yell, "Boring."
It was so good.
Like, the commentary didn't care about this. Bray Wyatt had a better sponsored match than this, and that's saying something.
Honestly,
like, it literally was. This was a 1994 Kevin Sullivan booked match from WCW.
Absolutely.
That's what this was, with the smoke under the ring and the RoboCop moment of Leatherface, and Satnam Singh basically like power bombing people through, trying not to break Jeff Hardy and all the debris in the damn thing. Like, it was crazy.
Did you hear Taz unironically say, "Is that smoke?" Like, it just like total like that's what we're doing. Like, not interested. God. It's a shame. This could have been super cool and fun.
Shivani should be used to this by now. He did enough of these matches when he was in WCW.
Oh, yeah. And that's probably why he didn't say anything the whole damn time.
Yeah. My God. I know this needed to happen for sponsorship dollars, but this is something that probably could have been shortened by about, 10 minutes. Had the moment with Leatherface, or making a video.
This took a really, really long time.
And then the prize was this god-awful belt. Next.
Yeah, it's fine. We can move on. We don't have to talk about it. That's a belt.
I don't want to talk about this women's match either, because I already knew Britt was going to win. But it's nice seeing Bunny on my television screen.
How dare you? We will talk about women's matches, Mikey.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
one thing we're good at.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tony Khan Accountability Corner, brought to you by the Vibe Tribe Productions and the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel. Whatever it is that we do now. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, JVL.
So first off, Britt Baker and the Bunny. Yes, Mikey, you're right. Having the Bunny on her screen back, she was a little excitable, but I loved every minute of it. It was really good. And to see the final girls back, I want that tag team. All right, Tony, this is going to be a quick one, so you better freaking listen. Let's go. Back. So 3 women involved in this match. 3. You have 3 women? That's surprising. But yes, you have 3 women on this match. No stare down, no promo, no time taken. No, we're just straight into this. This is what's going to get. You couldn't build a promo earlier in the night instead of Jericho sitting on a table with Renee, sort of eating his blood. You couldn't have maybe stuck them around like, hey, they're cutting promos that are being recorded as this stupid freaking horror match is going on behind them. You break the fourth wall that way where they get chased off like the final girls are. Bunny and Penelope are the final girls. You have a horror match going on and you don't have them involved. What the hell? Then you don't put it in the main event because you've soured people on women's main event for 2 weeks because you can't book that, and you're getting people that actually have chemistry for once in a freaking match. You're sitting on your ass back there going, okay, how much is this game paying us? Because I really don't need it. And Leatherface, sure, we'll have a RoboCop. Meanwhile, the rest of your women's entire in the building are there trying to get on TV. You don't know how they're going to get there. Does Jeff Jarrett have something on you? Does Jeff Hardy or the Hardy Boys, they have a contractual have to be on the show every week in some capacity, and so have to take up time for the women? Because both these people, the other woman you had on the show was Karen Jarrett, who was left to the side covered in blood doing jack all until she nailed someone in the balls. Karen's not a good actress. Karen's not a wrestler. Karen is a former model who is married to a guy who's obsessed with gold. It's basically Goldfinger. You don't need her involved. You could have had better people involved. Hell, call up half of the people that are in the local area to be part of this extras for this horror film. You could have literally had people faking being on meat hooks, swinging around in the bathroom there, and you would have more women on TV. It's ridiculous. Like, are you afraid? Are you afraid to lean into this, Tony? Are you afraid that your sponsors won't like it if you actually put women on TV? They're trying to do the same thing. How hard is it to do that? It's, Collision is only slightly better. Oh no, Mikey, no, I need support. All I'm hoping, this is the end of it, Tony. This is what I'm going to say to you. All I'm hoping is that we get through this pay-per-view, we get through the next one, we get our hard reset from all these storylines you have to keep going, that you have to keep moving, and you actually start fresh. Book the women's division over the men that you've already now booked and overbooked, and just see what happens, because you have the ability to. And also, on a side note, Tony, I know Jamie Hayter's hurt. Bring her back for Wembley to get the pop with Britt Baker when Britt Baker comes out for her match for the title. We all know Saraya's probably going to win it, if not Tony Storm, because you're not going to keep it on Sheeta because you're a jerk. So let's leave it that way. I am overly incensed with this. And again, you're still getting $500,000 off because of this. You did nothing and you moved him down the card. How dare you? And this has been the Tony Khan Accountability Corner from my sickbed.
Gold. I'm in love with gold.
Jarrett, Jesus.
No,
this match
I love your take on this. I thought they worked really, really well together. I just thought this match got buried because we had gimmicky shit and promos that ran too long.
It really was it. They got cut down. And the bunny, I was so glad to see her back. I know how great she can be with that. She would have been an amazing addition to that match. They're doing, both Bunny and Penelope, what Scarlett Bordeaux should be doing in WWE, and she's not. Sure. You've got a tag team you can build. They got people that have built up. They have a history with a lot of the women's division doing these really hardcore matches. You go back to the street fight with Penelope and Ty Mello, where they're doing the Canadian Destroyer, or no, there's the pile driver off the apron into a table. Like, it's craziness. So, book the Bunny against a TBS champion. Put people in there, oh God, we need more of this. It wasn't a bad match and it wasn't a filler match. I actually enjoyed watching it versus some of the stuff on here.
It's just the problem is when it's booked that deep into the night after so much weird shit you've done, you kind of just, I don't know, it just loses some of its impact. It loses some of its luster, and then you're still kind of bearing it because you're not giving it full time.
No.
And they don't sound rushed necessarily or feel or look rushed in their performance, but they definitely they're feeling it. They noticed. It's affecting them.
We need more of this. We need to get back to a major match. And honestly, if you're wondering, Tony, you have room at All In and All Out. You have a multi-person match for the title. Can we have a multi-person match just to be a number one contender at that same point to take on whoever else is left? You can then use your entire women's division in 2 matches like you're afraid to do and see what the hell happens when you have 2 matches on the freaking card.
I don't know. We can, the accountability quarter said it all, and we can wax poetic on what Tony's really thinking or trying to do, and
he's not.
He's not. I'm not giving. I'm saying this, and I'll say this. I'm not giving him any credit. I'm saying he's still learning how to do this. It's been 4 or 5 years, and then AEW itself as a thing has been 3, right? Like right before the shutdowns, and then on, right?
But like 2018, 2019, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the end game is. AEW is doing great. Hell, in 4 years, you're playing Wembley. You're doing something right somewhere. Something's going to suffer, and sadly, it's an entire host of women on Dynamite. Other nights,
we get a freaking RoboCop moment with goddamn Leatherface.
We get these strange look, and I like the gimmicky shit if it's fun, and if we're doing something worth it, and it's truly goofy. Like, yeah, I'm having fun with this. But if you're taking time away, which we've talked about, not to beat it up too much, but okay, so all these things happen. The Acclaimed versus Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, I guess.
So versus themselves, because the jobbers were out there already?
Yeah, so they came out there. The jobbers already in the ring. They have the mini rap battle entrance, which sounded great. Nashville was all about it. And then the lights go out. House of Black shows up. House of Black destroys them.
House of Black's on Dynamite? They said they would never come to Dynamite.
Was that their thing? They said they never would go to Dynamite?
They talked about that, but then they're definitely, so this set up storyline because Malachi Black basically made Billy Gunn retire, and so they're holding the boats and they're beating the crap out of him, and the Acclaimed have been working this like feel good thing of like, we miss you, Daddy Ass, but the trio's still beating them up. So does this mean Daddy Ass is coming back? Does this mean they're going after the trio's titles again?
Weird.
Like, what? It's intriguing in this point.
They mentioned, the announcers mentioned that once or twice, that Malachi Black said something in Billy Gunn's ear and got Billy Gunn to take the boots off, and now the boots are theirs. And it's like, okay. But it sounds like Billy Gunn retired. Like Billy Gunn's retired.
That's what he's saying, yeah. So
it doesn't seem like a work. So if this is just storyline of a, Gandalf the Grey type of he's gone forever thing, he's not coming back, and then
Gandalf
someday,
the Jacked.
Yeah, and then it's Billy Gunn the White shows up and then becomes whatever he is.
What do you, Monty, his real name?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Monty.
Hi, how are you doing? I don't know. I don't think we needed this.
It wasn't needed on this show. I'm glad it wasn't a full match, but it wasn't needed on the show. Hey, look, you could have had a beatdown angle for the title thing, afterwards with the women. Could have had a 2-minute match with a couple of women, like Penelope Ford's already out there. Grab Chris Statlander, see what happens. I don't know. You had that time. It was fun to see. I'm always happy to see House of Black when they actually get to do something, but this was quick and easy and brutal for no good reason. And didn't set much all up, and you get to watch Penelope Ford is there, Julia Hart's there, have a fight. But that we then got our commercial break again, and then we're on our final match of the night. Which, lo and behold.
So we get the Hung Bucks and the Guns, Austin and Colton.
Just the Young Bucks. No Hung, no Hangman.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because remember,
it's just the Young Bucks.
Hangman and Kenny weren't there because they set that up early in the night. They're not there because Kenny got beat up, and then Hangman's at some weird hospital that looks like the back door of the arena,
which has one ambulance. There's only one ambulance at this hospital.
And one guy dressed in a black shirt that's the EMT without anything else on him that's showing that he's an EMT. But I did enjoy the Young Bucks attacking the Guns in their entrance. Like, it's one of the best ways I've seen that done, where they appear out of the darkness and take them out. It was so good there.
I actually didn't have a shit ton of notes because the Young Bucks are really good. The super kicks they throw are textbook. Like that, if you're going to throw them, that's how you need to throw them. Drop your spine, throw your legs straight. Like, it's safer. Like, it just looks great.
Allow your opponent to run through it, basically.
Yeah.
You give them the obstacle, they'll run through it. I did love the do-si-do drop kicks where they had to like turn around and then drop kick their opponents. That's classic rockers right there. That's like Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. So it was really kind of cool.
I don't think I've seen that in a long time.
Not
so that
in a
was
very
super
long
cool
time.
to see.
I love the jumping over the ropes X Factor that Nick Jackson pulled off under one of the Guns too. Like after the Famouser was coming up, they ended up doing that, which is
kind of felt like it was sort of a let's just showcase a bunch of cool shit, which
was
really
great.
And this is, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say this in a mean way. I'm quoting Vince Vaughn from 20 years ago because Vince Vaughn said this, and I agreed with it ever since. The Young Bucks have this sort of body type where they're in shape and out of shape at the same time. Like, they're in great shape, but if you looked at them, you'd also go, you're not in shape, but you're in great shape. But you're like, you could look, because they're not. And I'm only saying that because compared to other steroid infused professional wrestlers and bodybuilders, you see the two of them and you go, oh, those are just two dudes. And they're not fat or ugly. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, body type wise, you're just like, oh, yeah, you're just a guy. You're normal.
You're achievable. And
then all of a sudden, achievable. I could take that home. But like, but all of a sudden, like, and they do these beautiful things. They do these magical things. Like, how do you do that? Like Ricochet level stuff. Like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. They've been doing this for years. I will say the one sticking point for me in the match was as they got closer to a lot of the double team offense, there was a lot of waiting for a second to get the spot right, or like, we're not quite in position, so we got to move over. So there was a little bit of like back and forth there, which these teams know each other, but not well enough to be able to be that smooth. So I kind of give it to them on that stuff. And then I love the final sequence, John. I loved a cheating pin into the same cheating pin. Like, we're going to do this better than you. Yeah, we're the baby faces, but we will do the same thing you did, but better. And it was. And that was a great way to end that quickly and knock them out of that way and just like be like, no, you're not on our level yet. We can do everything you can do much better.
We're just going to do this better. Yeah. I thought that was fun.
And then beatdown.
So then there's again. So we had just a night of random beatdowns. Who's this who comes in here? Is going to say about the thing. Bullet Club. Okay, so everyone comes in. Bullet Club's here. They're fighting mom. FTR shows up, which I was like, why would you? I was confused on why FTR came in to save the Young Bucks because they have a match in 10 days. And if it's the same trope of, but we want them perfect and we want them for us, I guess I buy that. Like we want the best version of yourself.
Because it's the third one going in and they really want this to be the proving ground with no questions asked, I can see why they would do that.
Right.
I got to ask this. So this wasn't in my Tony Khan thing, but I did write this down. This is my last note on here. So the FTR saves them and then we get a stare down between FTR and the Bucks going into it. So I'm sitting there looking at this match and looking how everything else was done. And I'm sitting there and I just said out loud, I was like, so do the women have to overbook their matches to this level to get any type of time or acknowledgement? Because they've got the roster to do it. They've got some of the storylines to do it, but it seems like you don't trust your matches to be good enough to carry what you're doing. And you need to have seven, like it bookended the night. You had the schmaz with the open fast food bag at the beginning, and the same fast food bag burst another leak, and a bunch more of like McRib sauce came out. And I'm sitting there going, this only happens once a year, and I understand why it's all over the floor, but honestly, I should have looked at this better and gone, there were a couple other things I could have like shoved underneath here, some sanitary napkins of some sort to plug a hole to keep this going. So I don't know. It just seems
I absolutely agree. It does. And I don't know because I'm not watching. I don't know if Collusion or Rampage. I keep saying that. That's not right.
I love that you call it Collusion because it's CM Punk and what's been going on. That makes so complete sense.
It's funnier to me that way because it just, it's just a bunch of lawyers fighting in a courtroom talking about collusion.
Collusion. It's Ace Attorney at law.
God damn it. Objection.
Sustained.
Collision.
Collision.
Colasion. I don't know if the women are getting booked much better anywhere else.
ROH. Sort of literally ROH.
Yeah, literally ROH.
I'm going to watch that tonight.
I would love to see more of it. I absolutely agree with you. Because after a while, I mean, to use a term that I'm sure you'll understand, it's just a sausage fest after a while, and I'm not interested.
No, I've had enough sausage. It's gone through the bag now. It's completely like melted through the bottom of my bag.
All these things have fallen through the bag.
I bought so much sausage. Was too wet. So much sausage too wet. I can't deliver it in the back end. No rear deliveries for a while. I need to take them in the front, but still.
Sometimes you want tacos, and sometimes you don't need any more sausage. Like
if I can get some ocean food every once in a while, it'd be nice.
It's good. It's good for you.
It is. I take your medicine, Tony. Pack a lunch. Stay for the day.
Oh. We're going to get demonetized. So out of 10 minutes.
I'm just quoting Robin Williams. Quoting Robin.
I miss him dearly. He's my hero. Out of 10 minutes, what do you give this one? What do you think?
I would have given this as a free go home show, probably about a 5.5 because there were some good things, 5.5, 6. But I have to, so let's say the high note. I would have said 6. I'm knocking it to 5.5 because Tony Khan won't book the women.
I agree. I'm definitely, it's kind of
it was better than last week.
Better than last week, absolutely. I'm still in that 5-6 range, like you just said, absolutely. MJF and Adam Cole are pulling it out of the depths every single time. I think the women need to get run, and they're just not, and it's making me sad. That Texas what the fuck match should have dropped this way down, but everything around it was good enough, I think, to bring it to the surface. These gimmicky matches, if they're just going to be the old timers working their way through a 20-minute spot, that's not interesting. You got to do something with it.
Which they did because they had Leatherface and Fake Blood and Karen Jarrett in a white top covered in red.
And like I said, if that's the only thing that works, then you've obviously done something horribly, horribly wrong.
Tony, we know you love 90s WCW. You don't need to keep bringing it back.
Do the good things. Don't just, turn on the DVD and go, that one, we're going to do the Kevin Nash blood thing.
You realize what's going to happen next week, right? We're gonna have like a 7.5 foot man wrapped in like some sort of like brown wrappings called the Sasquatch because the Yeti was later on. So that's gonna come back and have that happen to somebody where they're gonna be hugged on stage.
Oh, and then you got to get Dennis Rodman back from North Korea to come do a spot. You got to get the Misfits, the old school punk band who can hardly walk anyway, to come do a spot. You got to do all the old school WCW tricks.
ICP.
Yeah, they might actually be able to fight though. ICP might actually show up and crush somebody.
Please don't do any of this, Tony Khan. Please.
No, this is us talking out the butthole. My name is John. I'm affectionately known as Professor, and this is JVL. The Mikey had to go to his 6th grade graduation, which is probably for the better because he doesn't.
He just graduated 6th grade. It's
I know
wonderful.
it takes a lot of work, but that happens.
It does to get there. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video, share this video, comment on this video, tell us what you liked and didn't like. We want to talk to you. Follow both of us on the socials. I am at the JV Lexicon in most places. You are R0 rock and rolla with like weird numbers, but it's good.
Yeah. Or if you figured out how to spell my last name, you'll find me on the Instagram or the TikTok, which I should use, but I got angry at TikTok and I haven't been back. I don't think
I like being angry too. Like we should do our angry TikTok videos. But in general, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to know more about what you like about the stuff. Share it to your friends. Get this stuff out there. Don't make us the only people that talk about this because God knows we talk to each other enough. But we love all of you so much for being with us every kind of Wednesday, Thursday when we talk about Dynamite. We love having all of you guys here. I love being able to see my friends, so allow us to do that and just talk about wrestling in any way you want.
Yeah.
Enjoy the wrestling you like, but like women's wrestling.
You can like any wrestling you want, but like women's wrestling.
Please.
See you all next time.
Yeah.
Bye.